What's up, guys? It's Kentario back again with Christ and comic books. You know, okay, so I wasn't planning on doing this so soon because I don't have a decision, and I don't think we have perfect fits yet. I think it's still up for debate, and what I'm talking about is the big three. If you love anime, if you love manga, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big three, the top three series for Shonen Jump. What are the top three series for Shonen Jump? Let's start this off by clearing up a bit of confusion. There is a difference between Shonen Jump series, there's a difference between Shonen Sunday, there's a difference between Shoujo Beat, there's a difference between, what is it that Fairy Tail comes from? Each different manga series, each different anime series comes from a different brand, a different producing company, different editors, different companies produce their series. So, I think it's Kirishima. I think that's what it is. I have to double check. You think I know this off the top of my head, but I have to double check. But Fairy Tail, they all come from different things. Fire Force, they come from something different. So we can't put them in the big three when we're talking traditional big three. And I'm just being honest. You know, when we're looking back at the original big three, let's go old school. Let's go legendary. Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, and top notch Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. Those are our original big three. All three series come from Shonen Jump. Now, some of you might be like, well, what about Trigun? What about Evangelion? What about Outlaw Star? All of those series. Now, those are some good series, but majority of them, like Trigun, like even Full Metal Alchemist, those don't come from Shonen Jump. So they're not considered in the big three when we're talking Shonen Jump. So primarily whenever people are talking the big three, they've always kept it in the category of Shonen Jump. They've been trying to broaden that spectrum, but big three really falls under Shonen Jump. Let's keep it home, people. Let's keep it focused on the product, on the brand from here. You want to talk about it from the other companies like Shonen Sunday and I think it's Kirishima. You want to talk about it from those other ones? Okay, fine. It's perfectly fine. Do it with them. But Shonen Jump, let's focus Shonen Jump. So like I said, the first legendary big three, Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Rurouni Kenshin. Perfect. As if I'm saying my opinion, and that's all this is, my opinion. Those are some fitting big three. We got our humanesque perspective where you have swordsmanship, you have character, you have, I have a sword, but I'm not going to kill you with it. Or how are you going to keep doing that when everybody else could die? Are you going to break character? Are you going to keep that peaceful composure about you, or are you going to break to make sure everyone's safe? You fight with that a lot. You get to observe a lot of culture, seeing the Japanese culture, seeing what things were like after war, and how people wrestled with that, how people were like, I'm here to be a warrior, but things are changing to where we don't have to be in that mindset and fight in this way. So there's a lot of cultural depth behind Rurouni Kenshin that is so very important, even as much as, I guess you could say, it's very simple proverbs that really drive people. One of the biggest and best things about that was the reverse blade. I'm not going to stick on this long, but this is our past. For the people that really, really love anime, really love reading manga. This is where it comes from, man. This is what gets a lot of people into the stuff, was these old schools. So Rurouni Kenshin having the reverse blade, a blade that when you go to unsheath that bad boy, it's like, oh wait, that side's dull. Oh wait, the blade's on the inside. That's beautiful. It's incredible, man. Sarutobi. Good gosh, man. Just brings back so many memories thinking about this. And then you have Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, this is where you get into the spiritual side of things. Of course, you're looking at a kid who ends up getting hit by a car. Of course, he's like a bully kind of character. Always getting in fights, not advancing in school, not doing anything for his benefit or anybody else's. But when he comes home, he's there for his mom. As you see, like I said, he ended up dying trying to save a kid from getting hit by a car. There's a lot of good, genuine character to him, but he doesn't pursue anything as far as growing himself. So when it came to that instance where the kid needed to be saved, of course, you see him go and put himself on the line to save that kid. He ends up becoming a ghost, and someone takes him in to become a ghost detective, dealing with other demons and spiritual threats to protect the spirit realm, at least as far as the story goes. And they really advance that by going from, just protecting your realm to seeing the bigger picture and going as far as needing to become strong enough to protect everyone from the greater threats that are out there. Because you can't just sit by. It's crazy now that I think about it. because I believe really strongly in the Jordan Peterson philosophy, thought process of you got to make sure that you take care of yourself first, and then you can see about making sure that your family is taken care of, your home is taken care of, and going as far as making sure that your community is being protected. But if you're not doing anything to take care of yourself, you really can't see yourself taking care of your community, which is kind of how Yusuke Urameshi operated. Yusuke being the main character of Yu Yu Hakusho, that's how he was. He was kind of, there's no point in me trying, there's no point in me working towards it. At least I can do these little things here and there, and that'll be enough. But after he died and he ended up working as that detective, he knew at this point, I need to step up to the plate. I need to make myself stronger, wiser, able to fight, so that I can make sure that I'm defending my friends and my family, so that I'm making sure that I'm defending the earth itself at the magnitude that it's needed, because if I don't, who will? So that really brings about a great level of character development and seeing outside of yourself when it comes to growing and becoming a better person. So there's a lot of depth to that when it comes to Yu Yu Hakusho. You got Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, of course, starting off as that little comedy series, with fighting here, comedy there, Goku not being aware of how perverse he's behaving by pulling on Bulma's draws or saying, ew, why do you have that when I have this, making his little jokes. We all loved it back then. And then we get to this point where he's making the dumb mistakes that's risking our, the safety of humanity on Earth. So we see that character development. But with Dragon Ball, we really see just continuously stepping up to the plate, being that strong guy that's needed, becoming stronger and stronger as you need to be, to ensure that everyone's safe, but not at the same time, and you stepping up to that plate, you're not going to sacrifice who you are either. I guess that's one of the trademarks about Dragon Ball is Goku will step up to the plate to defend the Earth, no problem. But at the same time, Goku by nature loves a good fight. He can't help it. He's not going to turn that away simply to make sure, I hate to spit it that way, make sure everybody's safe. But at the same time, he's going to make sure everybody's safe. So it's keeping yourself at the same time while making sure the fight's done. Never giving up and making sure that this is the best that I can do. I'm going to think through what else I can do, but I'm going to go to the next level no matter what it takes, so that I can be strong enough to defeat the threats that are coming. Because it seems as though the threats aren't going to stop, so why should I? So Dragon Ball is very deep in and of itself, even though it's kind of simple, to be totally honest. Akira Toriyama did a great job with that story. So the next big three, this is kind of like the old big three. Early 2000s, going up all the way to maybe, 2013, 2015. Naruto's still going, One Piece still going, Bleach ended. So those are the next big three. Excuse me, I already said them. But we got Naruto, we got Bleach, we got One Piece. Bleach, it's done already. However, Bleach deserving of much respect. These big three deserve to have been the big three that they were. I know Bleach fell off and the way that it did, but it's still deserving of being the big three that it is. So when it comes, let's start with Bleach. Bleach was very poetic. Bleach was very well illustrated. It was such a creative series. This was by Tite Kubo. Tite Kubo originally did Zombie Powder was his first story. And Zombie Powder fell through, although in America it was a big hit. Like, people wished Zombie Powder would have continued. So what he ended up doing instead was he took the time to create Bleach, incorporate into Bleach what he was using for Zombie Powder to create such a great story that is Bleach. And Bleach is a young man named Ichigo, similar to Yusuke Urameshi in that regard. Wasn't trying to do much of anything else outside of, I'm just going to go to school. I'm getting caught up in these fights. I have this relationship with my dad. It's just me, my dad, my sister, my two sisters, excuse me. And, we're just going to live our life the way we're living it. Then he gets caught up in spiritual warfare because what's known as a Hollow ends up coming to threat to fight what's known as a Soul Reaper, otherwise known as a Shinigami. And this storyline, we're doing Death Note. For those of you that don't know what, the terms are, I know there's some Christian friends that might check this out. Shinigami, Soul Reaper, same thing. So the Soul Reapers contend with the Hollows to defeat them, to save. Now this is very specific. The Shinigami save the souls of the people there, of the Hollows. They defeat them. They release their souls so that they can go and be reborn. They take on that philosophy and that way of the spiritual realm, being reborn. So they go, they die, they go to the Soul Society, they live there, and then they get reborn into the world once again. So that's the cycle in which they take on. So we see here that with the Soul Reaper that's there getting defeated by the Hollow, however, Ichigo comes to her aid. She transfers her powers to him. He becomes a living Soul Reaper. So he's human who's alive, but at the same time can end up can access his Soul Reaper powers and fight on behalf of humanity from the spiritual realm, contending with these Hollows. Now the story continues to progress from there to where they're fighting with Hollows. They're fighting with other Soul Reapers. They end up fighting with a mix between like. It's what would you call them anyway? The it's been so long. It's been a very long time. They end up fighting with like a cross between Soul Reaper and Shinigami. They end up fighting, and then you find out Ichigo is mixed between Hollow and Soul Reaper as well, so he can access that power. For him, it would be called a Vizard. For the Hollows, or for these types of Hollows, they would be called an Adon Card, if I remember the term, and that's what they would be. He liked to, Tite Kubo liked to incorporate a lot of Spanish into his. He brought a lot of culture too, so it wasn't just the Japanese culture. He brought a little bit of the Hispanic culture. He kind of loved that kind of thing, and he used that to tell his story too. So that right there was also an incredible aspect that he used for the making of this. So they went from contending with them to contending with what's known as the Quincy. Now, I already pointed out that the Shinigami were ones that would save the souls. Now, Quincy's, which are ones that come from like the German culture, they were ones that destroyed souls. So there's a difference there. So that's, as you can see, if you're looking at the manga, to be specific, they destroy souls. So it leads to the Soul Reapers having to go against the Quincy's to stop them from destroying souls, basically. Big story is they were trying to get to the king of the Soul Society, the king of the spirit realm. They were trying to get to him and defeat him. The Quincy's were. And the Soul Reapers were trying to stop him. Now, you might be like, wait, when did that happen? For those of you that don't read manga, the anime ended because of confliction between what was written for the manga and what was produced in the anime. So with that being the case, Bleach ended early. There are some rumors going around that Bleach is coming back. Here's hoping, because that part can be done a lot better, and it gives Tite Kubo the proper ending that he deserves, because like I said, he's part of Big Three. Then we get into Naruto, one of the biggest series of all time right now. Naruto is just blowing up. It's kind of it has that Akira Toriyama effect. And what I mean by the Akira Toriyama effect is he gets to be simple with what he's doing, and people are just going to cling to it. They're just going to grab for it. Naruto just has such a huge fan base, and is being so drawn in. But Naruto is based from Japanese culture when we're talking about their mythology. A lot of their mythology is being brought in when we're talking about the Nine Tails, when we're talking about chakra, when we're talking about even with what happens with the Mangekyo, the Sharingan, and all of those things, what takes place with warfare, all of those things are being incorporated into the story. But to speak on Naruto, we have the main character Naruto, of course. His story is that he's a kid brought up, just him. It's him in his town, no family, no parents, and barely even any friends, not anyone that you could probably consider genuine friends, at least the way that it's portrayed in the beginning. And so he struggles with having those relationships, and even more so building them. So the character is developed in being able to build relationships, but then it grows even more so he can become a stronger character in and of himself. He goes the whole series in total, genuinely. You can contend with me on it if you like. Please leave a comment, because I believe Naruto only has 2 abilities. Naruto can only use the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto can only use Rasengan. No, but he has a different forms of Rasengan. It's still Rasengan. Don't try and twist it. It's Rasengan. There's no other ways of looking at it. He only has 2 Jutsu. That's it. Well, what about Nine Tails? That's power and chakra. 2 totally different things. You don't call someone charging his fist with a punch of Jutsu. No, it's just energy that he's using, and the way he channels it is left up to him. He's not using jutsu in that moment. So don't confuse the 2. If anyone has a plethora of jutsu, it's his rival Sasuke. So that's where we're going to go with that. But just to get back to the storyline, so Naruto, who has nothing, who started out with nothing, is trying to develop his friendship and his relationship with his I didn't mean to even think of this. Holy crap. I'll double back to it. Bear with me. Okay, so we have Naruto, who is the main character who has nothing starting out, with Sasuke, who had everything and lost it all because he came from a prestigious family. He was taking on becoming just like the rest of his family. I want to be, that powerhouse. I want to be strong. I want to be great like my family. I believe that I can step up to the plate. A lot of people go through that as well in their own personal lives where, and I don't mean to sidetrack, but where they feel as though, do I want to be like my family, or do I want to do my own thing? And a lot of times when they're struggling with that and going to do their own thing, they completely fall off. But in this case, I'll just speak with Sasuke. We see that Sasuke struggled with determining what he wanted to do, and he chooses to stick with the family and do what the family did and become strong and be a difference maker for his family. But Sasuke learns something about his family history that makes him say, you know what, I can't continue with these people. I need to go be of my own. Naruto kind of takes on this mindset of, I want to be able to be friends with everyone. I want to be the hero that my people in my country, in the Leaf Village, need, so that we are all okay, so that they can know that they can trust me for once, being that no one else otherwise would trust me. But if I can't help my one friend, how can I expect to be the savior of my entire nation? So that's not going to be able to happen unless otherwise. Oh, I can't believe I made that relation. If anyone of you heard what I just said, I'm going to get back to it as we move forward here. The other one of the big three is One Piece. That is my number one favorite. I love One Piece. One Piece is amazing. Amazing storyline, great comedy, great fight scenes, great backstories, great emotion, incredible series. It is still running today. Bleach is done. Naruto, we're not talking Boruto. Naruto is done, but One Piece is still going. It's just over 80% done. The manga creator, 5-10 more years left for the story before it's completely being written. So he's got a long way to go. But I'm going to simplify this story for you as well. One Piece being that story where there's a kid who, in a sense, has nothing. He's brought into a town by his grandfather to be raised in this town because this is a safe town that he believed was safe and a place where this kid could be raised away from everything. But the boy can't help but get into everything because he ends up befriending and getting into relationships with pirates. And from observing them and seeing how they were and seeing how they carried themselves, and even more so being saved by the pirates, one, he couldn't help but build that relationship. Two, he got a different side of piracy that is otherwise portrayed in the media and in the newspapers and how they're seen and how his grandfather must have been talking about piracy and rebellious people. So he's getting a different side of it. So he's making him think, there's more to it than meets the eye. He's seeing the freedom that they have, and he wants that same thing. So in the end of it all, he ends up taking up that desire to, I don't not only want to be free, but I want to be king of the pirates. I want to maximize what it means to be free to the best of my ability. And I want other people to have that. So what you see is a character going forward to work towards getting the biggest treasure of them all, to become the king of the pirates. But in him going towards his own freedom, living his life in a free state, he helps others to be free as well from any form of captivity that they are experiencing. You go from several different aspects of captivity, and the way that they illustrate each form of it is so well done. It's one of the things that draws people in. It's not just the comedy, because sometimes it can be extremely excessive with all the comedy that they do, but they do such a great job of hitting on everything that needs to be hit on in those instances, even when they're getting emotional, even when they're getting into the battle. Man, it's a deep story. I'm going to end this portion of One Piece with this. The reason I love One Piece the most is because it made stretching awesome. I don't care who you are. If you know who Plastic Man is, he didn't make stretching that awesome. Granted, they've amped up his power level a great deal in the past couple of years, but his stretching's not that cool. I mean, it's okay, but it's not that cool. Reed Richards, he stretches, but he's not popular for that. He's popular for his intellect. So stretching wasn't that cool. But then you get One Piece. You get Monkey D. Luffy, the main character. He makes stretching awesome. He made stretching an incredibly amazing ability, and that's one of the things that made me fall in love with it. Something so simple was made incredible. That's great story writing. That's great ideas. That's great creativity. So that's why I love One Piece. One Piece is amazing. Now, here's our big conversation. The new big three. Who is the new big three? I asked some coworkers of mine this question. We haven't come to a consensus yet. We've been back and forth. We still disagree. So, we can agree that My Hero Academia, big three material. Now, it's still starting out. It's still on the precipice of what they're capable of. So, it's again, this is just a debatable conversation. So, My Hero Academia falls into that category. Demon Slayer falls into that category. Demon Slayer is it looks like it could be short. That's one of the catches with Demon Slayer. So, like I said, My Hero Academia is still starting, but it has such a huge fan base already, so that's why people think it's going to be big. The only concern is if they make one mistake, they could lose everybody. So they have to be very careful with how they carry the story going forward, or they can lose My Hero Academia. Demon Slayer, every single episode had you in it. I watched season 1. Like I said, I'm bigger on the reading than I am on the watching. I got into actually watching Demon Slayer, and I was sold from episode 1 to the episode 25. Every single episode sold. It wasn't as if, and it's not like the whole, action for action. They include the action, they include the comedy, and then they include the emotion. And each and every episode, everything happens that way. Now, it's on my list to get the books, to see if the books do the same thing. The anime, but you're captured, man. From episode to episode, Demon Slayer, you're captured. My Hero Academia does a great job of building everything up and getting you prepared so that when you get to the battle and they're making their statements and they're saying these deep and emotional things, you're just like, oh snap. Demon Slayer, same thing. This kid's just trying to protect his sister, but he sees there's a bigger world out there and bigger threats, and he's like, I can't just save my sister and not save these people too. So I gotta help these people along the way. This is motivation. If I can help them, then I know I can, at the end of this, I can help my sister. Gotta keep trying. I'm not gonna give up. And you see this such a great drive, that sibling relationship, that sibling love, that I think is actually important to have today, that we don't have being emphasized, is sibling love, sibling relationships, and that being grown. It gives you a different perspective of love that I think is so vital. And how much of a difference that can make in living, how much of a difference that can make in enjoying life, and how much of a difference that can make in battle. And that's what it is. If you're going through, you can seek out, that sibling that will encourage you, that will keep you going, that will believe in you. And I have that with my sister. My sister has that with me, is that relationship. But the argument right now is, we know these two can be Big 3 material, but we don't know who Big 3 number 3 is. We don't know who could fit that category. I know some people that are just like, why don't you do Black Clover? Why isn't Black Clover? No, I'm sorry. That's just me. I don't like Black Clover. Now, that stems from what I've seen in the anime, primarily, not what I've read in the manga. That stems from seeing how it's very copycat-ish of Naruto. It's very copycat-ish of Naruto. Main character, can't do anything, no powers, no one likes him. He comes from the lowest state in his country. He ends up finding out he has access to this one bit of power. He can do this much. He gets his power from a demon. Oh, where did we hear that before? Naruto. He gets his power from his demon, so now he can actually participate and be of big help. And he ends up getting a part of one of the better teams in his nation to be that difference maker. So he's going to war and taking on these missions to help his people, which is what the ninjas were doing in Naruto. They take on their missions, they go and help people. Like, that's really what they're doing. It's really just a Naruto cop-out. Now, I've been encouraged by several people, don't give up on Black Clover. You should try it. So instead of watching it, I'm not going to watch it because genuinely I've heard season 1 and 2 is garbage. The new season is amazing, but I'm going to do it the way I would do it. I'm going to read the book. I'm going to get my hands on Demon Slayer. I'm going to get my hands on Black Clover, and I'm going to read them. I'm going to get into collecting them. I'm going to enjoy them. My only concern is I made the mistake of trusting people when they said that about Fairy Tail. Bought it. Didn't like it. Hated it. So I don't want to make that mistake again, but I'm going to give Black Clover a shot. I don't want to do it, but I don't believe right now, because it's not quite there yet, that Black Clover fits the status of fitting into the Big 3. I don't think it's there yet. I might even put Haikyuu in that spot before I would put Black Clover. I might still keep One Piece in that spot versus putting Black Clover in there. That's kind of how I'm really feeling about putting Black Clover up there. It's not that good. Now, I, of course, believe, honestly, and again, I've already done a video on this. I haven't done a video on the other. I've done a video on one. I think Platinum End. If you don't recall what I said about this, I'm gonna link my video to this where I describe some of the books I've already collected. This series, amazing. From the creators of Death Note. You see it right there. It says Death Note. From the creators of Death Note, amazing series. And then you have, highly recommended again. But then you also have Dr. Stone, which is really picking up in the franchise. If you see right there, Shonen Jump. This is a Shonen Jump series, so it fits in the category of Big 3. This also has a huge fan base that from season 1 on is meeting its criteria. So Dr. Stone has a better fit than, as of right now, Black Clover does. But like I said, Black Clover has more seasons, so it has that build. But Dr. Stone's still on season 1, so it's working its way up there. But that has its potential. That's all I'm going to say about that. I know Platinum End doesn't have an anime, but it has a platform. So these are some of the other things I would recommend outside of Black Clover. But once I give Black Clover an actual read and start collecting and see where it's going, I might actually change my mind. And if I do, you'll get that confession from me, guys. But thank you for checking this out. I hope I get your support. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, show some support, and tell me, who do you think the new big 3 is? Thank you, guys. Have a blessed one.